Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Global Dialogue for Justice Global Classroom, where we continue our scholarly publication of Social Costs of the State of Emergency. Tonight is our eighth week of our important discussion of the findings of this study, a genocidal victimization study by Justice for Victims platform. And I would like to welcome, with great respect and admiration, for his tireless commitment to documenting the crimes against humanity, a new form of genocide, so that someday the perpetrators will be held accountable. The principal investigator and our professor, Dr. Bayram Arzurumala. Dr. Bayram, welcome back to our global classroom. Thank you for
And
being here tonight for us.
thank you very much, Merjina, for inviting me. Well, to be honest, I don't find any happiness in participating in this lecture, but I feel it's my duty for humanity, for the victims, especially for today's topic, for the babies, innocent babies, uh, who 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 needs to be heard. Their silent cries or loud cries, maybe, should be heard by the world community, and the criminals one day should be tried and convicted. That's why I am here. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to join you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Baram. So far, we have covered very important topics that could be used for future research by students, by scholars, by organizations, by world leaders. So in psychology, political science, foreign relations, foreign affairs, anthropology, there's just a wide, and field that can use your study. And so we are so grateful, Dr. Varam, for offering us this important document for the world to learn and from, and also later on it's going to be used for evidence when it's time to seek justice for the victims of the state of emergency and decree law. So thank you very much, and thank you to all of your colleagues who have worked tirelessly to make this happen and for us. So thank you very much. And I said we covered very important topics, and one of our guests and one of these when the findings and our lesson, suicide, is coming back for us tonight, and it's truly wonderful. It's a pleasure and a great honor to welcome back someone who is an acclaimed novelist and academic, and is a fearless fighter for those who are victims of crimes against humanity in Turkey. And I'd like to welcome back into our classroom Dr. Fatma Zahra Fidan. Dr. Fidan, thank you so much for coming back and again enlightening us for our topic that's very, very important.
Thank you very much for a kind invitation. I'm very happy for joining your program again. Thank you very much.
So our topic tonight is the introduction to babies in prison. And this is really a very complicated topic. It's very hard to understand for those of us who is just don't know really, that we don't have a deeper understanding of why on earth there are babies in prison in Turkey. Dr. Bayram, please give us an introduction. How on earth these babies ended up in prison?
True. Well, according to medieval edicts of the ideology of political Islam of today, basically, they treat babies as if grown-up terrorists. I mean, not just would be criminals, but terrorists. Terrorists do not discriminate their victims. Criminals might discriminate. If somebody is thief, you know that they are your property. If somebody is murderers do not kill. Mostly, if they are not serial killers, obviously. Murderers do not kill anybody, just anybody. They kill somebody they probably know. They especially target somebody. But terrorists do not discriminate. They kill anybody and everybody wherever they find an opportunity. and these babies are being treated as would be grown up terrorists if they are not crushed today by the evil ideology of these political Islamists. Basically, that's why uh, they uh, they don't get any food if they need. They don't get any toys whenever or wherever they need. They do not get beds, believe you me, to sleep. And you might wonder, how could these babies survive? Well, they are not supposed to survive. According to this evil ideology of political Islam, they are supposed to die anyway. So they shouldn't survive anyway. That is why babies are the most innocent victims of this evil ideology. And then, it, believe you me, whether they are in their mother's wombs or just born or a, a few months old or a few years old, doesn't matter. They get most horrific treatments. If they are sick, they hardly get uh, medical care. I mean, if they need education, they are not provided properly. They don't get any playgrounds. There is no way. There is no way. Even their toys are taken away from them. If somehow those toys were, built by the other prisons, even. I mean, the prison management do not let babies get any toys from outside. If somehow the prisoners themselves they produce some toys, I don't know how they do it, from maybe plastic recycles or paper recycles, and that even those could be taken away from these babies. Uh, and then, well, I've got a special section for the babies in prison in my one of the reports, so I could give more details. But I'd like to stop for now, giving opportunity for your further questions, Merjina. Thank you very much.
Well, Dr. Varam, when you tell us these things and this information, it seems like for people in the international community, it's very hard to believe that
Yeah,
these
true,
are
true, true.
actually happening. It
Yeah,
is
true.
really, it's just like movie, but this is real. And so, Dr. Fadan, you understand this issue very well. But before we go there, because it's really hard and it's emotional, I understand that you have work. You have another project. Can you share us this one where you edited a book of a
Yes.
victim? So tell us a little bit more of that, and then we will ask you about your experience with the babies in prison.
Dr. Merjana, you are right about your emotion and thought. You are right. Because like these terrible events is not impossible. To believe in is not impossible. Is not possible. But we don't mention a fairy tale. These are our relatives in our country. Because after 2016 attempt coup, hundreds babies put in prison. Really, to believe is not possible, but it happened. It happened in our country. Babies, innocent babies, 4 months, 5 more months. The oldest one, 7 years, because it is not allowed to stay 7 years old babies in prisons. Actually, I wanna mention our experiences because, as I said, last programs, all of families. My families were blamed as a terrorist, and my son had to stay in prison for 4 years and 8 months. And then my daughter-in-law was a teacher and blamed a terrorist. And when my son arrested, my daughter-in-law was pregnant 2 months. After gave birth, my daughter-in-law pregnant, and her baby was 4 or 5 months, only 4 or 5 months. And then they went to prison, and thanks for God, my daughter-in-law had not to live 4 years in prison. Yes, but 2 months and 15 days they had to stay in prison with her baby. My daughter-in-law said to me, "Mother, I lived my the most important, the most deepest contradictory in my life, because our room, that is prison, was not suitable for a baby, because as you know, a baby need to crawl on the floor, but the place was not suitable crawling for a baby." And then he had to touch on the arm her baby always. And then 2 weeks later, my daughter-in-law didn't overcome this suffer because her baby was not good in prison. And then he made a decision to give her baby to her family. She said to me, "I was living such a deep contradiction. I missed my baby, but I had to give to my family, because our situation was not suitable, my baby." And then she had to give her baby, her family, but her mother milk was collecting on her breast, and she had to dry milk from her breast into sink. Can you understand me? There was a mother. Her baby needs to her milk, and then she had to draft into sink her mother milk. And then after sent her baby to her family, she missed very much her baby, and she wanted to hug her, and she wanted her family, "Bring my baby, please bring my baby." One day she said to me, I want to spread a blanket on the floor, because my baby needs to crawl, but there is no carpet on the floor. The floor is terrible situation. I wanted to spread a blanket, but guardian shouted to me and not allowed to spread a blanket on the floor. I must say that thank for God very, very much. My daughter-in-law had to live like these terrible experiences for 3 months and 15 days. And then after these experiences, our experiences, I want to mention Yusuf Danjun diary. There is a book. There is a book was wrote by Fatih Alakush. Fatih Alakush, who is child rights activist. She wrote a diary, and I edited his book. Fatih Alakush wives had to stay in prison, and then her prison, there was a baby. Her prison. I want to mention this story, the real story. Fatih Alakush. This story was wrote by Fatih Alakush, and I want to mention this real story. It is not fairy tale. It is not story. It is real story in our world, in our country. I noted, I want to read my notes. His name is Habil Yusuf. His mother name is Birsen. Birsen is not real name. I use the other name, as you can understand. Birsen was arrested because she worked in a student dormitory as a teacher, Güles Camias dormitory. This woman was a teacher, and she worked in a student dormitory. For this season, she was put in prison. But she was blamed. She was blamed depositing money in the Bankasya and installing bylock in her phone. That is, blame. Blaming. Birsen has a daughter who 3 years old also. She was arrested in front of her daughter who was 3 years old. Her daughter was crying when she was took in prison. But before went to prison, she didn't know she was pregnant. Birsen didn't know she was pregnant. Birsen learned that she was pregnant a week after she was in prison. Her baby was 2 months. She was pregnant, and her baby was only 2 months. She was released after 3 or 4 months. She gave birth prematurely by cesarean section. This story is very long, but I summarized. I mentioned shortly. After gave birth, Birsen was arrested again. His baby was 4 months and 15 days. She stayed for 3 years in H-type prison in Eskişehir. She had to stay with her son in Eskişehir for 3 years. That is, Yusuf was in prison when his mother's body. Yusuf's story started in prison. Do you understand? When Yusuf 6 months had to be fed with food other than breast milk. I agree with Dr. Bayram completely, because my daughter-in-law mentioned about this subject. He has no possibilities feeding her baby because food were very oily, very bad, especially for a baby. when Yusuf 6 months had to be fed with food other than breast milk, but the food in prison was not suitable for him. The food was oily. Yusuf could not travel in prison because the place was not suitable. Yusuf's mother requested more suitable food from administration, but they didn't accept. And then they continued to send food for elderly people. Yes, Yusuf learned to walk in the prison. He walked when he was 11th month without crawling. She had no possibilities crawling, and then she started to walk 11 months without crawling because there was no carpet on the floor, and then their prison were crowded. There are a lot of women. As Dr. Bayram said, there was no toy. And then his mother, that is Birsen, request some toys for baby, but they didn't accept her request. That is according to I learning from my daughter-in-law and Yusuf's diary. Dr. Bayram saying are completely true. Their life was completely like that. Little terrorist. Yes. That is, this Erdogan regime behaved against to innocent babies like a terrible terrorist. But Dr. Bayram said that I don't know what did in prison for mothers. Birsen made balls and dolls by putting fiber into sacks. Yes, they use knife and made balls and dolls by putting fiber into sacks. And Fatih Alakush told me and wrote his storybook. All of women were playing with Yusuf. They were playing ball made by socks, and then made by socks babies. They were playing with Yusuf. They said to me, Yusuf was like a hero for us. We loved him very, very much, but we felt very anger and suffer because he was only baby and he was an innocent baby, but he had to live like a terrorist. Also, although his mother was not a terrorist, he was an innocent teacher, and she was blamed as a terrorist because of working in a dormitory, students' dormitory. That's all. They had no weapon. They didn't kill someone. She wasn't thief. she didn't use a weapon, etc. Yes. When they were on break, IAB. But he couldn't go to a hospital because it was weakened. His mother put ice on his wound. When Yusuf was ill, different women required some behaviors. For example, they were making iced tea, and then green tea, and then, for example, they put ice on weapon, etc. Traditional cure. They had to use traditional cure in prison because when they went to doctor one day, they didn't give his medicine for 3 days because his baby was very hot, high degree. Although it was very ill, he was very ill, they didn't send his medicine for 3 days. That's all. When they came in prison in the first time, Yusuf, a small baby, and couldn't sleep. He was crying. During days, he was crying because this place was not suitable his nature. Yusuf had to stay in prison for 3 years. He learned to talk in there too. The first word, daddy, because when Birsen was arrested, 1 or 2 months later, his husband was arrested too. Birsen's daughter, who was 3 years old, grandma and grandfather was taking care of her. That is the other innocent baby, Birsen's daughter, had to live away from her mother and father. This small child missed her parents for years. And then she learned to have a brother, and she missed very, very much her brother. He would ask to his mother after learning talking, he would ask to his mother, how is it outside the box? Dear friends, Yusuf defined prison a box. Mom, how is out of the box? Bayram hocam kutu. She was telling box. She was asking her mother, Mom, how is outside the box? She saw a cat. She was a cat when they went to the hospital, and he was excited and surprised. When he was ill, he went to the hospital, and then the small baby was seeing surprising and exciting on the ground the other people, and he saw a cat. He saw green plants, and he didn't plant during his life. He didn't see plants during his life. Can you understand? And then, actually, in Fatiha Alakush books, there are a lot of examples, but I wanna tell shortly to you. When they were on break, he was seeing birds on the sky. He was seeing some birds on the sky. Mom, there are something on the sky. There are something. What are these? Please come here, he said to birds. And then a bird came inside to him, and then she saw to it while surprising, while exciting, because the innocent baby saw the first time in his short life a bird and a cat. He wanted to touch cat, for example, when she went to hospital. He wanted to touch the cat. He wanted to touch, but he felt fear. He felt fear because cat it was moving. Was moving. Dear Merjanna, this topic, one of the most important, but there is not unimportant topic. All of topics are very, very important, but when I talk about babies, I'm very excited and I'm very, very bad emotional situation because these are only babies. And then Erdogan regime behaved against to them as a terrorist. But I want to say, dear friends, we know that 70% of a person's personality is formed by the age of 7. After 7 years old, children had to go out of prison. That is, it means that children's subconsciouses is fulfilled with their experiences of prison. Their subconsciouses is fulfilled experiences of prison. What does it mean? I have no idea. I have no idea how these babies will be cured in their future. How it will be? I have no idea. Have you got any idea about this subject? Because under 7 years old, their subconsciousness is fulfilled experiences of prison. That's all. According to iLearning, after going out of prison, Yusuf wanted to play as if he was in prison with her sister. Yes. He said that, sister, let's play like on box. Essay box, he means that prison. That is, he wanted to continue the past life in their home, in their new life. Maybe they may not a new life. We don't know. We cannot know. However, children are the future of a society. Do you understand me? Children are the future of a society. Actually, children have not nationalities. I mean that they belong to all of the world. These innocent children belong to all of the world. That is, these responsibilities don't belong to only us. These responsibilities belong to all over the world. Although it is like that, European country and United States prefer don't to see these events. And then also, they supported practice or Erdogan regime. However, they claim that we are a modern society. We are a democratic society. They are liars. According to me, they are liars. Because if they don't lie, they will not behave like that. They will not support to Erdogan regime. They prefer to see babies in life in prison. They will prefer to see women in prison. But they don't prefer. For this season, I wanna warn to them, if you want to continue like these behaviors, we must say you are liars. We have rights. We have rights to talk about these situations. That's all.
Wow, Dr. Bayram. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot to learn from this. And Dr. Fidan, your courage is truly unbelievable. And those people that you told us tonight, they're the evidence of crime. It's just hard to understand. Dr. Bayram, what do we do with this kind of...
1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of Child beings as follows. If you are under 18, you are a child and you have rights. That's all. The United States, as you know, Dr. Bayram.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Before you ask your question, Regina, I would like to point out one thing, which is that pregnancy of the targeted group of women were criminalized, in fact, terrorized by this political Islamist regime on the ground that they got pregnant by the order of somehow a terrorist organization's leader.
Yes.
So that women, pregnant women, were treated as if criminal terrorists, and then they were taken, handcuffed from their birth rooms. Dr. Fidan mentioned babies imprisoned about 2 months, 3 months or no. I could confidently say that there were babies in prison who were 1 day or 2 days old, believe you me, because it is in the social media, it's in the media. We are not talking about some secret reports. Some of them are in my report, obviously. Some of them were in the media. And these kind of pictures or video footages were broadcast intentionally by this regime to give the message that, look, if you are in the target group, you are not supposed to get pregnant. If you get pregnant, you will be labeled as terrorist because you are carrying a terrorist in your womb. That is why babies, whether they are in their mother's womb or outside of their womb, were treated as terrorists like their mother or like their father. It wouldn't matter. That's why they were treated so badly. In fact, in my special report named social cost of space, social cost of uh, 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 emergency regime, obviously, in the third year, there was a special section. I asked whether the babies got proper treatment, whether they got proper food, whether they got proper care, whether their mothers, when and if they needed to be transported to a hospital, whether
Yes.
their mothers were handcuffed. Okay,
Yes, handcuffs.
let me uh, give you the results. Okay, when we were asked that when whether the mothers and babies had access to proper doctors treatments and that, 90% of our respondents said that no, when they got sick, neither babies nor
Yes,
their mothers got proper treatment,
yes,
proper access to treatment, proper access to treatment or proper treatment. 90%. We ask this question to women, both who were in prison uh, and either pregnant or gave birth or witnessed all those things. So we didn't ask anybody in the secret this question to anybody in the street. No, we asked this question to uh, people in the know, basically, who had experience in this, and they said no. 90% of the babies or mothers didn't have proper access to treatment or proper care. Uh, we asked about 15 questions, but I will not be mentioning all of them. Let me just check uh, whether if they needed a proper food. Let's say, sometimes you might need a proper diet depending on your illness. And believe you me, what respondents said, 94% of said no, neither mothers nor babies got proper diet food uh, according to their needs. Uh, Basically, let me just check. Yeah, when the mothers were being transported to hospital, if need be, 90% of them were carried with handcuffs.
handcuffs.
This is disgrace, but all this happened. All this happened under the evil uh, regime, under the evil ideology of this political Islam. Uh, when the women or babies needed to actually sent to a hospital, proper hospital, 90% of almost 90% of them didn't were not given proper referral to be sent to hospital. So in essence, mothers and babies were kept in prison to die as soon as possible, if possible, to die in agony as much as possible. If they survive, it was their luck. If they didn't survive, that was what the regime wanted anyway. Uh, okay. When the women and babies were being transported to hospital, they were mistreated, maltreated. 85% of them, according to the victimization report data in my report. Obviously, in emergency station, 85% of them didn't get emergency treatment anyway. you know, time is very important in times of emergencies, but they didn't get emergency treatment either in working hours or outside of working hours. Well, working hours, it didn't matter. Let me just, obviously, their feeding needs were not met. 95% says they didn't get proper treatment anyway. And then when they needed to go to doctors or hospitals, they were treated harshly and badly. They were not treated humanely. 85% of them. Okay.
Yes.
So most important and last important of is that if somehow pregnant women were put in prison and they needed to give birth, obviously they had to be taken to a hospital. But in hospitals, they were not allowed to be visited by their families, or they
Yes.
were not allowed to be tended by their relatives.
Yes.
Think about it, Merjina. Think about the harsh situation of that woman.
Yes.
It is. I mean, I will not say it is inhumane. It's something. It's barbaric, obviously, but this is done systematic. This is not a one-off thing. No, this is a systematic action by this criminal regime, and I am sure they take proud in doing this.
Yes.
Because they explain this on the media with joy. That is why whatever done to these babies or their mothers is not coincidental. It's not coincidental. It is a direct action, systematic action, determined action by this criminal regime, and it is in our report. And I am sure if some victims were allowed to come on this program and express their actually experience, I am sure they will support what we say here, because as we always tell our audience that we are not telling stories out of our minds. We are expressing what our findings is among the victims, basically. Last thing I just forgot: when babies needed milk, if they were not provided, 95% of them. Sometimes, as Dr. Fidan mentioned, sometimes their mothers were not allowed to give their milk, they feed their babies.
Yes.
Sometimes, if somehow mother and baby is separated, babies were not provided with mother milk.
Mother milk. Yes.
Yes. So, well, this is the situation. This is how barbaric is this political Islamic ideology. We would like to warn people of the world. Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Bayram,
Yeah.
do you know a program was done by TRT television. There was a program about babies in prison. Speakers told us, dear listeners, dear watchers, etc., our state supported our babies in prison. They are giving some toys, and they supported them about kindergarten and teachers. Can you think like this program?
I just laugh at it. I
cannot say about this subject. one program was done, TRT television. TRT television belonged to state. Dr. Merjana belonged to state. You are putting your babies. It means that babies are our future. Babies are our future. Your future were put in prison by you, and then you are doing a program. We are supporting our babies in prison. Can you understand this terrible situation? These are stupid. Cruel, and not only cruel, they are stupid, not
This is
intelligent.
It's really unbelievable to even hear all these experiences. It's for us from the outside of Turkey and don't know very much, or refuse to see and hear the loud cries for justice. It's really unbelievable. So we are going to do another babies in prison for during the finale, our finals, Dr. Baram. And for tonight, what can you tell the global community, the people of the world that might be finding our publication, your report, and Dr. Fidan, your testimonies of this crime? Dr. Baram, what can you tell our global students tonight?
Well, I would like to urge them to take some action, because actually sitting on your couch comfortably wouldn't make any difference to the lives of those innocent babies or their mothers. Thank them. I thank them very much. Thank you.
Dr. Fatma Fidan, your voice is powerful and moving and captivating. And it's always a pleasure and an honor having you. And your work, as Dr. Bayram's work, will be part of history. So tonight, what can you tell the world about the babies in prison?
Firstly, thank you very much, Dr. Merjana, because no one want to say about this subject, talk about this subject. No one give a microphone to us. We could not talk about this subject. We cannot to be seen by the others because they said to me, don't talk about nothing. Don't talk about. The first time, I thank you. I thank you very much. I thank you very much. And then I must to say, I'm proud of Dr. Bayram and like him, friends, our friends. I am proud of you at the moment, because these problems don't belong to our country, only our country. These problems are responsibilities all over the world. I must say that, because these problems belong to humanity. It is related to being human being. It is related to human being. We are human, because we cannot think. I prefer not to see these problems, these terrible events. We cannot say, and then we promised ourselves, at least we are fighting. We are fighting to have our rights and overcome this terrible injustice. Thank you very much again. And everyone have to know we are power. We have powerful. Everyone have to know. Yes.
Thank you so much. It's truly it's emotional. It's an emotional topic, and so those of you tonight, we have discussed a topic that's very hard to understand for those of you who live freely, who can speak, who can walk, who can eat, drink whenever you need it, whenever you want. But there are babies in prison in Turkey. As we gather in this on this forum tonight, they must be freed with their mothers, with their fathers, because they don't deserve to be in prison a minute longer, because they are innocent victims of crimes against humanity, a new form of genocide perpetrated by Erdogan regime who will be held accountable. So tonight we said goodnight to you and hope that you will see us again for the next Babies in Prison and our finals. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you very much.